Alabama, Gonzaga. So right back to you, Brian Power. The Zags a favorite here in Vegas. Do you agree or disagree?
Yes, I agree that they should be favored. Do I want to lay it? I don't want to take it. I know that. I mean, you're going to expect points here. I mean, look, right now I've got Gonzaga power rated number 2 behind Duke, I believe. Let me just double check that, make sure nothing's changed. But yeah, I've got Gonzaga power rated number 2. We know Alabama. We've talked about Alabama already this year. And we're going to expect points, I think, in this game. With Gonzaga, I think the issue is, have they been tested? Alabama's been tested. That's what I was trying to stammer out there. They've played Illinois and Purdue and St. John's their last. I mean, what a run that is of 4 games. You go St. John's, Purdue, Illinois, Gonzaga. Those are 4 top 10 teams, according to my power ratings. I mean, my God, you talk about Alabama football having the number 1 strength of schedule in the country. Alabama basketball right now has maybe the toughest strength of schedule in the first 2 weeks I've ever seen. So we know they're battle tested. Gonzaga, not so much. They did blow Creighton's doors off in the second half. I believe one of you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. The game was close at halftime, and then the Zags just blew their door off over the last 20 minutes. So I absolutely believe and agree with the fact Gonzaga laying 4.5. I'm a little higher than that, but not enough that makes me want to slam the Zags in that situation. I apologize for that, for weaseling out of a pick here. But Gonzaga is a deserved favorite. I think the concern is, Alabama's been tested whereas the Zags haven't been tested as much.
Yeah, and I think that's the first thing you go to, right, Brian? Look at the schedule Alabama's played. It currently, depending upon where you're looking, they sit around number 3 in the country in strength of schedule play. And I'm sure somebody out of the SWAC is playing a tougher schedule.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But for power teams, and Alabama's been all over the map doing it. Madison Square Garden, United Center, home, Las Vegas, they're all over the place. For me, and I do agree, laying 3.5 is a lot better than laying 4.5, but still it's hard for me to get to Alabama because, guys, I think these rebounding issues are going to come up again. Remember last time we talked about Alabama, Illinois, and how Nate Oates was so pissy after they got crushed on the boards by Purdue 52-28, and then they came back and played Illinois. And I remember talking that day and saying, Illinois didn't exactly crush Texas Tech on the board, so maybe Bama has a chance. And they did have a chance, 40-38 on the boards in that game. They only lost by 2 in rebound margin, and they win 90-86 in the United Center. But I don't know that happens here. Gonzaga is one of the best rebounding teams in the country, actually by metrics better than Purdue, and far superior to Purdue on the defensive rebounding. So a lot of 1 and outs maybe for Bama, who, if their threes aren't falling, could be problematic. In a lot of ways, these teams are similar. They both shoot the 3 at the same exact percentage. They both want pace. They both, on the defensive end, slow teams down a little bit to get off a shot, while on the offensive end, they want to run. But more edges for the Zags. Their 3-point defense is far superior so far. And beyond that, Alabama, neither of these teams turns the ball over. Real good ball protection. But surprisingly, Alabama doesn't force any turnovers. What are they doing over there? They should be forcing turnovers. That's their style. They haven't. Gonzaga has. I think when I first looked at it, Brian, my initial reaction was, Bama's far more tested. But when you go back and look at the Creightons, the Oklahomas that Gonzaga's played, you can find one comp game where we're talking about the rebounding, and that's Arizona State. Arizona State and Alabama are almost identical rebounding numbers. And in that game, Gonzaga out-rebounded them by 14 on the road, won the game by 12. Arizona State certainly is not in Alabama's offensive league, but I still think it means something here. And this is the thing with Alabama. We're kind of seesawing each and every game with them because I think the matchup absolutely makes what's going to happen on the court the reality. Worked in St. John's, Didn't work against Purdue, worked it in Illinois. I don't know that it works against Gonzaga, so I think I would lay it. And as for the total, I mean, that's a one-way ticket. Either you play over or you don't play at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a very miserable 2-hour experience, I think, watching this game and betting under. Two things are one thing that I wanted to bring up, Bradford. Not only has Bama had this really tough schedule, this will be their fourth straight top 10 opponent, Gonzaga's been off for a week. So, yeah. I mean, that is a just massive scheduling edge for the Zags. I mean, you could argue, I guess, if you're wearing crimson, you're going to probably argue, well, we're battle tested. We're ready for this. This is, nobody cries about this in March, whereas maybe Gonzaga is a little bit rusty.
And guys, I really think fan base wise, it lean towards Gonzaga here pretty heavily. Yes. I don't know on Thanksgiving week if folks from Tuscaloosa want to travel to Las Vegas. I really don't think that's going to happen, where Gonzaga's got kind of a built-in fan base there. They're in Las Vegas a lot. So what game? I think it was the Arizona game, right? When they were playing in Las Vegas way back at the beginning of the year, we talked about it, and it turned out to come true against Florida. So maybe the fans help here too.
Yeah. And Bayou actually clarified, he's correct that scoring differential is what matters. This is something, obviously, you hear about this in the NBA Cup, Rob, as well. Scoring differential matters. So at the end of games, teams are going to still be trying, because that's the tiebreak is point differential. So there you go.
Yeah, and of course the WCC plays their conference tournament in Vegas, so they're always there in March. They probably, I would say they play 3, 4, 5 games a year in Vegas usually, like even without this tournament, whether it's a standalone at T-Mobile. They've had plenty of games in Vegas. And yeah, I would agree that they have some fan base there. I rarely come on here with like a totals opinion. I've said this a million times. It's just not really like how I handicap. It's I don't know when the last time I gave out a total for a client play was, but sometimes they catch my eye. This one, like I had a feeling the over or the opener was too low. It looks like the market has suggested that is the case. Now up to 176. I've got this in like the 180s, like the low 180s. So I guess the one thing I'll point out, which would point me toward the over here, where I think Gonzaga probably wins this game if they do, is the ability to score up front. I'm not sure Alabama's post defense is going to be able to hold up against Gonzaga. The other thing that makes me think that this one probably soars over is Purdue was really able to slow down Bama, which is really the reason they lost that game. And you talk about early in the season and being tested. Well, we've now seen Alabama play 4 games. One was obviously a cupcake against North Dakota, but the St. John's game, the Illinois game, I felt like Alabama was able to sort of instill the game that they wanted to play into the game. And then you had a 90-86 final with Illinois, who was actively trying to slow them down. The game that there was a team that was willing to go with them a little bit, St. John's, over 200 points in the game, close to 200 points, 103-96 final. I don't think Gonzaga is going to really mind playing faster here, right? Like, I don't think they maybe that, like, it's hard to know what they're going to do. Certainly, I think they want to get the ball inside, but Gonzaga can play fast. We've almost seen Gonzaga at times go back to previous years, and this maybe was with some of the teams that weren't quite as good in recent years. I almost felt like they would play too fast. Like sometimes Gonzaga gets themselves out of sorts by trying to play way too fast, which is why I don't know if I have much of an opinion on the side, but feel like 180 is like a no-brainer. Like this is going to get to 180, no problem. So my lean would be over. All right, let's keep it. Let's go ahead, BP. Were you going to add
the last thing I was going to add as far as the side goes, I think this game is largely determined by, can the Zags turn Bama over? The Zags, obviously, you look at these margins of victories they've produced against what we'll call lesser teams, certainly lesser opponents compared to Alabama. The margins of victory have really been predicated on turning the opponent over. Alabama has not been turning the ball over that much so far this season. So I think that ultimately determines who emerges from this game victorious.